Like if I just said the Ravens and the Bengals, they playing in a really close game to like the average casual fan. Ravens, Bengals, really close game. There's a defensive play that wins the game. Which team made the defensive play? Ravens. But we made it. You feel what I'm saying? I love that. But this narrative that if we not throwing for 350 yards every game, you got to be worried about the Bengals. That narrative pisses me off more than anything. That pissed me off more than the Joe Burrow disrespect. That pissed me off more than a coin toss, more than all of that. Just because we constructed differently than those teams and we got the best quarterback out of all of those teams, it doesn't mean that we are a soft or a finesse team. We've won more gritty big games in the last 2 years than any of the teams by a lot. My main point is we are AFC North. I know we the Bengals. I know we throw for damn near 5,000 yards. Like we them dudes. I get it, but we still are an AFC North team. That is our DNA. Don't sleep on our toughness. Don't sleep on our dog. Don't sleep on our resiliency. Don't sleep on none of that, because that's the core of the Bengals, and that's what I love the most, more than anything, about this version of the team. Straight up. All right, real quick before we jump in, today's video is sponsored by DraftKings. So the NFL playoffs is in full swing, and the field of contenders is getting smaller and smaller. So if that's not enough to get your blood pumping, today's sponsor DraftKings has a game-winning offer. All new customers got to do is sign up for DraftKings using promo code FlemLo. Bet at least $5 on an NFL playoff game, and you'll instantly receive an additional extra $200 in bonus bets. You'll instantly get the $200 deposited into your account. Then you could take that money and try out same game parlays. That's where you combine multiple bets from one game, like which team will win and by how much. It's even better in the playoffs because there's so much emphasis on every single individual game. And same game parlays give a chance at bigger winnings. So if you're very familiar with a particular team or matchup, same game parlays might be the way to go. Now, if mobile sports betting is not yet legal in your state, you can still get in with DraftKings Daily Fantasy. DraftKings got a bunch of ways to make sports more fun. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. To the brand new customers, use promo code FlemLo, bet $5 on any NFL playoff game, get $200 in additional bonus bets, and use that to familiarize yourself with what you're doing. Again, that's promo code FlemLo at DraftKings Sportsbook. And once again, shout out to DraftKings for sponsoring the video. Today I'm talking about something you hear me talk about all the time. Cincinnati Bengals. And I'll be talking about them through a lens of something you also hear me talk about all the time. Perspective. It'll make sense in a second. Let's go. So at the beginning of the season, I made my predictions. And I haven't always just nailed these, but this year, I couldn't have really been more right. So like I said, I expect the Bengals to have to fight for it, but I expect them to take the division. And I believe we're going to win somewhere between 10 and 14 games. So I'll make my official prediction 12-5. I got the Bengals going 12-5, first place in the AFC North and fighting for first place in the AFC. I know. We're going to be fighting for it though. By the end of the regular season, it had played out almost exactly like I predicted. You know, besides the fact that the Bills game was canceled, which obviously nobody could have predicted. Also, before I start ranting, just want to let y'all know, if you hadn't seen it, I did make a Damar Hamlin video. Pretty good, dope story. Check it out after this one. Now, the Bengals have had an unbelievable year. We won 12 games, bro. Finished with 8 straight victories. And when the regular season ended, I sat back and I said, that wasn't nearly as fun as it should have been. New video idea. What happened to me? What happened to fun, happy-go-lucky Bengals fan FlemLo? Bro, the Cincinnati Bengals went on an 8-game win streak to end the season. Last year we won 10 games total. 10 games. And that was the most fun regular season I have ever had as a Bengals fan. What was the difference? The team is better in pretty much every single way. We win more games. We repeat as AFC North champions. We prove people wrong. We do all of that. And look, I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it at all. Like, winning is fun. It's great. But I didn't have the same experience that I had last year. So what happened? I think I got paid a visit from my old nemesis, expectations. You know, the thief of all joy. So I can be a very goal-driven person. I can be excessively and compulsively competitive. But when it comes to my fanhood, I like to turn that shit off. It's a technique I learned from having a team who had not won a playoff game, a single playoff game, in my entire life, in my entire fanhood, I should say. We talking about, for me, 15, 16, 17 years. And for the Bengals, the actual team, like 30 plus. When that's your team and you dug in so deep that it ain't no way you jumping off the boat, you don't care, you riding no matter what, you learn to appreciate the little things about the ride. How hard guys play, how we building in the right direction. But then you get a taste of it. The Super Bowl. The most watched annual sporting event in the world that ends with one team being drenched in confetti, standing on top of podium like the fucking kings of the world. And after not just losing that game, but losing on the last play and actually having a guy be wide open, being that close, all I could think about after that was, we gotta get back. We gotta get back. If we don't get back, nothing matters. And here's the thing. Consciously, I don't even think I knew I felt like that until the season actually got rolling. And we started terribly, by the way, 0-2. Experienced some early turbulence. We was 4-4 at one point. Then we beat the Panthers. That was the Joe Mixon game. I'm just coming off the top of my head, so I'm hoping right. But I'm pretty sure we beat the Panthers, which made us 5-4. At that point, I made a Bengals video. That was the last one I made before this one. And I came and I said, as good as we are at adjusting, what the Bengals seem to lack on a consistent basis is the ability to establish our own dominance on a game. Too many times we allow the other team to dictate how the game is going to be played. That plus an over-reliance on game script, meaning if we get down early and teams can pin their ears back, we have a hard time. If we get up early, we don't usually blow leads. But we're overly reliant on game script. If it don't start out our way, we got this tendency to just keep digging a deeper and deeper hole, man. It's weird. I'd like to see the Bengals be able to assert their will on teams more often. And what I saw today from Joe Mixon does give me hope that might be something that's possible in the future. I was frustrated with the fact that the team had not been able to assert their will on other teams. And I felt like we were just kind of along for the ride, and we were good. We were great at adjusting. That's what's up. But we hadn't really developed that initial punch. Like, you can't just come out and be a counter puncher all the time. Like, sometimes you got to be able to initiate your own offense. Like, what if the other team ain't giving you nothing? What if they're trying to bait you in? You know what I'm saying? You're a counter puncher, you're going to be ineffective. So I made that video. I wasn't terribly happy with the team at that point. And then, well, ladies and gentlemen, it was as if the Bengals themselves heard everything I was saying as a fan, and we didn't lose another game. Okay? We didn't lose another game from that point, and we still haven't lost. But as we were stacking those wins, instead of me kind of living and dying with every victory, just the W itself, I was more living and dying with, okay, how are we progressing towards a Super Bowl? Meaning, we gotta blow these teams out. We gotta do this. The offense needs to be able to execute like this. I gotta see this out of the defense. Like, all of these specific, we gotta win by this much. You know, it started getting, like, my expectations started to take on this whole new, like, mutation. Competitiveness started to really seep into my fanhood, and I hate that. I hate when I approach my fanhood too competitively. Now, let me be clear. I don't think being competitive is bad. Again, I'm a very competitive person. I use this in most areas of my life. And I think it's a really, really great tool, unless it's a situation where you can do absolutely nothing to change the outcome. It's like when you was a kid and your mom was like, hey, get in the car. But mom, where are we going? Don't worry about it. Get in the car. At that point, it's like, okay, we ride. I don't know where we're going. I don't know when we're going to get there. I don't know what's going to happen when we get there. But guess what? I'm going to sit my ass back and just enjoy the ride, because it's the most productive thing I could possibly do for myself, as opposed to just worrying so much. How is he gonna? I have no control. I'm a kid. She driving. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? It probably ain't the best analogy I ever came up with, but you see what I'm saying. Just enjoy the ride. That is the perfect fan perspective if you want to get maximum enjoyment out of watching your team, which I think is the goal for most of us. Like, it's not our career to be a fan. We watch for entertainment. We watch because we enjoy it. We watch because it's fun. Of course, you're gonna be pissed off when you lose. But last year, man, I had found the perfect balance, and I'm going back there. So I made the conscious decision to revert myself back to a previous state. All right, get rid of them last couple updates. We don't need those. Because with those new updates, with those expectations, with those Super Bowl or buzz type of thoughts in the back of my mind, even though I wasn't verbally saying that, like, it was back here. With that, I look at the season like, man, if Joe Burrow wouldn't have had to have appendix surgery and miss all the training camp, we wouldn't have lost them first 2 games. And I don't believe we would have. If the tragic Damar Hamlin situation does not happen on Monday night, it's a chance my Bengals go on to win that game. If we're able to win that game, then like I said, we'd be fighting for the 1 seed. Probably would have got the 2 seed, which would have meant we wouldn't have had to play the Ravens 2 weeks in a row, which would have been great to not get guys hurt. You know, and guys can get hurt in any game, but division games in the AFC North, playoff division games 2 weeks in a row, tough. You know, before I reverted that new update, I would probably say, how the NFL give the Bills an option to coin toss for home field advantage or to get a neutral field. We don't get that opportunity. Instead, you give our ops, the Ravens, you give them the opportunity to flip a coin and come up. We only have an opportunity to move backwards. There's nothing new that was built in that's going to help us. Oh, but here's the AFC North title that didn't mean anything because they gave us the title if we didn't beat the Ravens that next week, which was the real division championship game. Because if we didn't beat them, we got to flip a coin, and potentially we would have played that playoff game from yesterday on the road. And there's just so many things, and I was caught up in every single bit of it, all of it. And then I sat back and I said, bruh, when Andy Dalton was driving down with all his might against the Dolphins in the Tank Bowl in 2019, I think, when he was having his greatest drive ever to make sure we didn't get the number 1 pick, essentially, and I had to root against my team for the first time ever, but I was really rooting for them. I was just playing chess, not checkers, you feel me? They had to lose that game. But like, when I think back on all of that stuff, man, how it all played out, and I went and scouted the quarterbacks, and then I went pinned Joe Burrow name up on my Twitter when he was still at LSU. Before they won a natty, dominoes started falling. Oh, slow build. We get Joe. Let's go. Then he get hurt. Crazy. Oh, wait, that gave us the 5th pick because we was losing after he got hurt. Okay, great. Oh, we got Jamar Chase. You feel me? And then, like, I'm just going on this dream ride. And at some point, I stopped looking at the ride like a dream ride, and I just started expecting, like, okay, we got to get there. If we don't get there, I'm pissed. So what happens is there's no opportunity for joy in those, you know what I'm saying? Because you win, yeah, we're supposed to win. And if you lose, the world is over. You know what I'm saying? It's just a real sloppy, just a bad mind state. I hate it. Like, I don't ever want to get caught up in that again. Like, I never want to get caught up in that again. Because when I look at the season from the proper perspective, bruh, 12-4, back-to-back AFC North champs. We've won the division a lot more than probably all of y'all think, but this is the first time we've won it in back-to-back seasons. That is colossal, is massive, but we've kind of done that before in the 2015, 24, on those teams. We was always at 10 win, 11 win, 12 win. We was having good seasons, but we get in the playoffs and lose the first round. So now 2 years back to back, not only have we won the division, we've gone on to win our playoff game, bro. Like where we've come as fans, like we in it, bro. Like when they talking about the MVP, it's us. When I watch national media, which I watch, they talk about the Bengals now a lot. A lot of them don't really understand how the Bengals team work, but that's a whole nother thing. It's like we're in the conversation. We relevant. When I wear this out now, you know what I'm saying? I don't really get the hoo-days down here in Texas, but people start talking about Jamar Chase. They start talking about Joe Burrow like they know the team. Man, that run y'all made last year, bro. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to, damn, you a Bengals fan? Tough. Like that's what it used to be. So again, it's perspective. I'm all down up in here. I'm so worried about all the people that tried to say we was a fluke and all the people who tried to say, you know, who tried to basically take credit that we fought, bro. Like that team, bro, they fought, that organization. They fought, they clawed, and they put some real shit together. And people try to take it away. But when I just block all of that out and then zoom out and just look at what we've been able to do, amazing. You know what I'm saying? Excuse my language. Like it's amazing. So yeah, that's just my perspective, man. Amazing season. We had adversity. We had turmoil. We had injuries. Lost Chase for a month. A lot of things go against us this year, and we still was able to come out with 12-4. You feel me? That's what's up. So with all of that said, looking at things from the proper perspective, let's talk about these playoffs, man. What a f***ing game. Well, first off, what a weekend of games. Like all the games was cold. I kind of skipped that 49ers Seahawks game. Like I was seeing it, but I took my wife out, you know what I'm saying? We were moving around, food hall, you know, restaurants. So I was seeing the game, but I wasn't like watching. But even that game was better than I thought it would be. Almost every game was in question late, and I didn't know if that was going to be the case because you had quarterbacks missing and stuff like that. Capped off by just a phenomenal Bengals-Ravens game. Now listen, stressful ass game. Don't get it twisted. Now that I'm able to step back, like, bro, that was an amazing game. It was a great game. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I would have been picking that game apart. Oh man, we didn't execute here. We almost blew it here. We let this happen. But now I'm just like, bro, look how far we've come. We used to lose these games. Now we win these games. You know what I'm saying? Like we used to almost win. Now we almost lose. And you see cats that ain't even in the playoffs. You barely got by. We barely did what? Got by. You barely at the crib. You know what I'm saying? That initial adjective don't even matter. Got by. And the reason it's such a great game because, like, all right, from my perspective, if you're the Ravens, everything you wanted to happen in that game happened. You forced a turnover. You made it ugly. Another offensive lineman got injured. You controlled time of possession and kept the Bengals offense off the field for most of the game. We had like 5 drives. You got to face a Bengals team whose question was always offensive line, even though they've been playing well, with 3 of them out. 3 of the starters just gone. Okay? To fully maximize your strength, which is defense. Now, you didn't have Lamar. Tyler Huntley actually had a better game than Lamar had against the Bengals earlier this year. And I understand it's still not like having Lamar, but I did just want to point that out because I thought Tyler Huntley played really well. Other than the one play we're going to talk about, and he definitely gave him a chance to win. Ever since we got rid of that backup defense we had that Lamar did the spin move on back in the day, we've actually done a pretty good job against Lamar. So don't act like it's a foregone conclusion that he would have automatically played better than Huntley did. And while this absolutely could have been the year where he went off, what we can't do is pretend that it's a foregone conclusion. Also, for some weird reason, the Bengals defense is horrible against backup quarterbacks. We lost to Mike White last year. We lost to Cooper Rush this year. A lot of people lost to Cooper Rush this year. I understand, but just think about that. We've never lost to Patrick Mahomes, but I can name like 4 backup quarterbacks that have beat us with this current team. And I know Alex Kappa is not a Lamar Jackson, but just please understand how key Alex Kappa is to all of those offensive players that y'all go crazy over actually being able to do their job. Like, it's a very big deal not having him, especially against the damn Ravens. And that's with me not even mentioning La'el Collins, because I think Kappa is the most important of all of those guys. But like I'm saying, it all was going your way. You had the ball last with a chance to win. And I don't say a chance to tie, I say a chance to win, because we all know that would have scored that touchdown. It was obviously going to go for 2, but you did all of that. You forced the Bengals to play your game. And that's like credit to the Ravens for being able to do that. You know what I'm saying? But the problem was the Bengals beat you at your own game. And that's the part I love. Joe Burrow threw for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. Well, technically 1 touchdown because they called Hayden down on a 1. That should have been a touch, but they say it was down on a 1 and then Joe ran it in the next play. So scored 2 touchdowns, 200 yards. That's a win. That's a big win for the Ravens defense. You got a lot out of Tyler Huntley. He played amazing. He was keeping plays alive when the pressure was getting there. He was getting out of the pocket and extending and then finding guys down the field. But despite the fact that it was an ugly defensive struggle, a Raven type game, despite that, we won. That feels great. That's not like a shot. I hope that don't sound like a shot. I'm giving you, this is my perspective. This is how I look at the game and why when the game ended, I was just so goddamn happy, bro. And like, it wasn't like that when we beat the Patriots a couple weeks ago. It was similar. Like they drove all the way down towards the end, was about to lose. We get a turnover right there at the end. I was glad we won, but I was mad. Like, bro, why did it come to that? Like, how did we let ourselves get in that position? Whereas now I'm realizing it don't even matter, cuz. You know what I'm saying? Just take the dub. Just take it. And there was all this talk about Roquan Smith, who is a dog, and he's now the highest paid linebacker in the league. But the 2 linebackers who made the biggest plays of the game play for the Bengals. The 3 linebackers, because Akeem Davis Gaither had that pick on the first drive. That was the biggest play of the game. But that was a big play. It's a turnover in the playoff. But Jermaine Pratt and Logan Wilson, those were the 2 linebackers who made the crucial defensive play that won the damn game. Like if I just said the Ravens and the Bengals, they playing in a really close game to like the average casual fan. Ravens, Bengals, really close game. There's a defensive play that wins the game. Which team made the defensive play? Ravens. But we made it. You feel what I'm saying? I love that. And I'm going to talk about Sam Hubbard in a second. I'm kind of ranting. I'm going to get there. But before I do, I got to say, like, the reason that I love when we win big games like this is because the Bengals get, I think, maybe unintentionally disrespected. Some people it's intentional, but some people, they unintentionally disrespect us. What I mean is, at this point, most sane football fans who are not just trolls understand that Joe Burrow is that dude. They understand that Jamar Chase is that dude. They understand who T. Higgins is. They understand Tyler Boyd. They understand that. They get that. But they always seem to forget. Bro, we are a AFC North team. Through and through, that's in our DNA. That's who we are. Stop playing with us, bro. It's like people think, oh, they got a good quarterback and a couple outside weapons. Soft team, finesse. All you got to do is muck the game up, hit them, make it ugly, and you got them. That ain't us. I remember last year, it kind of went viral like on Bengals Twitter. It was this Titans fan before our matchup with them in the playoffs. Just going crazy saying, Bengals a finesse team and we gonna do this and you never seen nothing like Derrick Henry and da-da-da-da. And we just like, bruh, we play in the AFC North. What are you talking about, bro? Like, what are you talking about? You not watching the games. And please don't misunderstand this like I'm saying, like, I don't care about your cumulative stats. I don't. He has this many yards. I don't fucking care. My point is, when we play these games, we know how to muck up the game and win. Just because you play an ugly style of football and we have the ability to play a flashy, we have the ability to do that. That's only 50% of our game. Like, you're not giving us full credit. Like, we know how to win. We can win on special teams. We can win on defense. And when it's a defensive game like that, we don't make it harder on our defense by constantly turning the ball over. Joe constantly throwing picks, trying to force the ball down the field in a game where it's just like, yo, this ain't that type of game. That's okay. That's okay. We'll take the sack there. We'll punt. Nah, I'm going to take that check down. I don't really like that throw. I'm not going to put the ball in harm's way in these games because they can't score unless I turn it over and put them on the damn 20 going in. They're going to score then. I'm going to make them continuously play. And our defense played bad for most of the game. First off, their running game is impeccable. It reminds me of, it's obviously not the same offense, but it reminds me of, if you've been around for long enough, you know I used to play NCAA. I was cold on defense. Like, I used to get so many interceptions. I could play like the number 1, number 2 ranked team, but I could play Georgia Tech, bruh. Georgia Tech, they ain't got to be ranked. Bro, I used to struggle. Like, I would struggle because it's completely different style of offense that they run it. And it take a while to adjust. And the Ravens was smooth because they started Anthony Brown last week and the offense didn't really look the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't call all of our plays, but we still had the same personnel. And here's the thing with the coin toss that a lot of people just don't understand. We had to have the same personnel because even though they gave us the paper AFC North championship the week before, we had to win this game or we might have been playing on the road in the playoffs against a division opponent despite being the quote-unquote champs. The NFL, due to the coin toss rule, it put us in a position where we had to play our starters just for nothing, like to not move up at all. We just had to play our starters just to stay where we were. Because if we lost that game and we lost the coin toss, we would have effectively been the wild card team. On top of having a first place schedule next year because we are the paper champions. You understand? So they twisted our arm. We had to play in that game and we lost a starter in that game. You know, that's tough, bro. That's real tough. But like the dudes on our team and our coach, you got to give Zach Taylor credit for this. The way they're able to be like gritty, able to be dogs without being rude, you know what I'm saying, and dirty, you feel me? Like we got a real like lunch pail type of group. I don't think we get the proper credit for that. That's, to me, that's the core of our success. Everybody think it's Burrow to Chase. That's, without Burrow, we ain't doing none of this, by the way. But just to be able to continuously win these big games is because of the lunch pail dudes. Look how many games our defense won. Look at the playoff run last year. The defense won pretty much every game. They got the interception to seal the Raiders game. They got the interception against Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship game. They got how many picks did they get on Ryan Tannehill? They opened the game up with a pick in that Titans game, bro. And maybe we didn't give up the least amount of yards, but when we got to get a stop, we get it. You feel me? Like, we get it. And we need one more just to seal this. We seal it, you know, more times than we don't. But this narrative that if we not throwing for 350 yards every game, you got to be worried about the Bengals. That narrative pisses me off more than anything. That pisses me off more than the Joe Burrow disrespect. That pisses me off more than a coin toss, more than all of that. It's like, I know people want to put a tag on the team. Like, you need to put it in a box so that you can easily explain it to a load of people. I understand that's why national media have a hard time with the Bengals. So just because we constructed differently than those teams and we got the best quarterback out of all of those teams, it doesn't mean that we are a soft or a finesse team. We've won more gritty big games in the last 2 years than any of the teams by a lot. And you can go back historically and all that, but ain't none of them dudes coming back to play for you now. I'm talking about right now. Ray Lewis ain't walking out that tunnel. Ed Reed and Bethune-Cookman mad about the garbage. You feel me? Anyway, I don't even know if I know what my point is, but I guess my main point is we are AFC North. I know we the Bengals. I know we throw for damn near 5,000 yards. Like we them. We them dudes. I get it. But we still are an AFC North team. That is our DNA. Don't sleep on our toughness. Don't sleep on our dog. Don't sleep on our resiliency. Don't sleep on none of that, because that's the core of the Bengals. And that's what I love the most, more than anything, about this version of the team. Straight up. Now for my next Bengals jersey, it's going to be a Sam Hubbard. No question. It's going to be a Sam Hubbard jersey. Like Sammy Hubbard. Love him. I love the dude, bro. Here's the thing. I wasn't always a Sam Hubbard guy. I always thought he was a pretty solid starter, but I don't think I saw his true value. He's not like a empty stat player. You got a lot of them dudes that make all pros every year, the empty stat guys, but in the biggest moments they don't show up. In order to see the true value of a player like Sam Hubbard, the team gotta be good. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you have to be in big games, you have to be in big moments when sealing that edge is absolutely essential. Most teams, you're not really valuing a run stopping DN all that high. Value it, but you looking for the pass rushers. But man, in all the biggest Bengals wins in the last few years, especially in the playoffs, Sam Hubbard has had some of the biggest plays. And he's just so solid. He's super disciplined in the run game. He rarely ever makes a mistake. Like, it's rare that I look at someone like, damn, Sam Hubbard messed that up. Like, I'd never say that. And that's one thing, right? That's cool. Okay, great. You got a solid guy. Yeah. But then also, he makes the biggest splash plays in the biggest moments, bruh. That sack, like the sack on Patrick Mahomes last year, when it looked like the Chiefs was absolutely finna score. When Patrick Mahomes was standing back there for like 30 minutes, because we was like, okay, let's not rush. Don't rush. Just wait. Okay. He dancing. Go. And then don't let him get past you. That's Sam Hubbard. Like, discipline. Like, he can execute at such a high level and make the play. And then he won us this Ravens game. Like, if at this point, everybody understands that. 14-point swing on that play. Now, I said that the biggest play made by linebackers, Jermaine Pratt, who you might not even see Jermaine Pratt on this play. My dog, playoff P, Jermaine Pratt. He's underneath Hundley, like, you're not moving forward, bro. You know, he stops him. Then Logan jumps up behind him and attacks the ball, right? If not for Pratt, there's a chance that Hundley actually gets the ball across the plane before Logan is able to knock it out. But he holds him in place, can't go no further. Logan knocks it out, and then we come back to my dog, Sam Hubbard. Again, this man is a big, strong, run-stopping. That's his archetype. He can do more than stop the run, but that's his archetype. A run-stopping DN. He has the skills, the finesse, the presence, the awareness to catch the ball first and foremost, because a lot of big dudes, they bobbling that. You know what I'm saying? Catches it clean. Now, the blocking on this return is terrible. We almost smoked this. You know what I'm saying? But at this point, this is set in stone. This happened. This is a 98-yard touchdown. This is the longest defensive touchdown, the longest fumble return touchdown in playoff history by Sam Hubbard, a dude who grew up in Ohio as a Bengals fan, goes to Ohio State, wins a championship, but not just that, he get drafted by the Bengals. Okay, he's with the Bengals when we're trash, grinding, doing his thing. Sam Hubbard, okay. And then we start coming up, baby. And he just, I was listening to him after the game, and he was talking about, it was like, man, have you ever when the last time you ran that far full speed? It was like, I run 110s every summer. Right before that play, we had a 42% chance to win. And then after that play, we had an 87% chance to win. So that's how big of a difference that one play made, and shout out to him and shout out to the whole defense, because so many times, dog, like, sometimes they kind of like Rocky, which can be frustrating, but it's just, when it's over, you're just like, man, no, they did it again. Because the Ravens was running that thing, bro. They was toting it all game. And then when they started passing it, because when you run it so effectively, now we're allocating pretty much all the resources trying to stop that. And then Hundley found a couple guys open. He played a great game. So the defense was struggling the whole game, but they just ain't got no quit, bro. They have no quit. Some teams you see when they get down, I see this a lot. I've seen this with teams we play. I ain't gonna call nobody out because I want to keep this positive. Teams start getting real, the media will call it chippy. They start getting real dirty when they start losing. They trying to dive at knees. They hitting people after the play, like way after the play. They punching people that's down on the ground. And I ain't saying we don't get some of that. Like, it's football. I get it. But the thing I'm impressed by is we're not just playing defense off emotion, bro. I watch so many teams, they just play defense off pure emotion, which can be great. I think the Chargers defense kind of reminded me of that. Like, they was coming down, it was 100 miles per hour, but like, from a cerebral standpoint in the playoffs, bro, you got to be able to make adjustments. You got to be able to think in the heat of the moment and make plays when they matter the most. And my defense and Sam Hubbard, man, shout out to them, because that's them all day. Let them do it. So the AFC is obviously tough, but I thought the Ravens were easily the worst possible matchup for us in the first round. Division opponent. I don't think Jordan threw for over 250 against them all year. We played 3 times. You have to understand, these teams, in part, they're built to beat us. And that's not like an arrogant thing. Like, we're built to beat them. It's the division, You win the division, home playoff game. So a lot of teams, smart teams, they build to win the division, right? Wink Martindale is a solid defensive coordinator. considered a good defensive coordinator. And the Giants over there doing their thing right now with Wink, by the way. But Wink Martindale is a blitzing fool. That don't work against the Bengals. That's why Joe Burrow went for 400 against their ass twice last year. Did he go for 500 against them? Maybe a lot, like 900 yards in 2 games against the Ravens last year. So this year, what do? Oh, they got the 2 high safety. They got the whole game. They changed their entire defense to be able to slow us down, and it absolutely worked. You know what I'm saying? It absolutely worked. They did slow us down. They beat us the first time, 19-17, and then we won the last 2. The only worst matchup we could have got would have been the Steelers. I would even say the Browns, but they wasn't getting in. So not this year, but next year they might be a problem. So yeah, essentially any division team. That was the worst. Just none of our division teams. That's always gonna be the terrible matchup in the playoffs, man. Like, this is your reward for being the 3rd best team. Don't be the 3rd best. You need to be number 1 or number 2. If you're the 3rd best, point is we got past them, bro. We got past them. I'm ecstatic about that. We got the Bills coming up, big time rematch. I really wish we would have got to finish our game in Cincinnati. I really liked how that game was starting out for us. Now we got to go to Buffalo, okay? Game might look a little bit different with the O-line being banged up, but, maybe we get some good news here with Alex Kappa coming up because he wasn't ruled out, but Lyell is done, and Jonah's not great anyway, and I know he's not going to be 100% by next week, so like a banged up Jonah, But despite all of that, I still think it's a better matchup than the Ravens were. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. Now, I will say this, man. It sucks because, the Bengals, we are the bad O-line team at this point. And it sucks because the casual fan, they're only going to remember, okay, the beginning of the season, we was bad. Brand new offensive line, everybody together. It took them a while to gel. They jailed in the middle of the season because our whole starting 5 played together every game. They started every game for 15 weeks. 15 weeks, and then over the last 3-4 games, we've lost 3 starting offensive linemen. We might be ready to be that bad O-line team once again in the playoffs, where it's going to be the most eyeballs. That's frustrating. That's very frustrating, but it is what it is, man. We always find a way to overcome these things, and so that's just, again, expectations. It might not be pretty. A lot of these games, they might not be pretty, but we just got to get the dub. Get the dub and advance. I actually want to talk about Joe Burrow and the quarterback debates as a whole, but I'm going to hold off. I'm going to say that for another video because I've been talking for a long time. But it's kind of hard to reflect on a season that isn't over. Like, I thought I would be able to just separate the regular season from the playoffs. Really hard to do until these final few chapters are done. So I haven't really talked about my Bengals on the channel for a while. There you go. That's kind of my thoughts. That's where I'm at. I hope y'all enjoyed it, man. Who they, bro? We got the Bills this week. Let's get it.